Okay, I'm going to replace the positive battery cable on my 2003 Accord with a 3-liter V6. The positive battery connector was corroded by a bad battery. I replaced it with one of these, but this really isn't doing the trick. So I'm going to replace the entire positive battery lead. Okay, so now I've got the battery removed and the battery tray. And this is a Y-shaped cable. One end goes onto the battery, obviously. The Y's, one end goes right here. There's a little rubber cover over the bolt. This is where one end connects, and the other end connects right here on the fuse box. This is the screw at one end of the battery cable connects to, that's inside the fuse box. This is an 8mm bolt, or it has a Phillips head, but I'm going to go ahead and use my ratchet to get that thing off there because it's on pretty tight. The other end goes onto this red bolt right here, and I've already disconnected that part of it. Then there are these little green clamps. You can see right here. There's one here. There's one down right here. Okay, and this is the finished project. To go over what we did, this is the fuse box, and one end of the battery cable screws right on here. On this one here on the left, where my finger is, you simply feed the cable in this way. It's L-shaped. The top of the L goes here, and you just screw that in place, and that holds it in. Then feed the cable underneath here. There are two clips on either side, and they just pop in place with a little bit of thumb pressure. Going around the other side now, the other end of the cable goes right underneath this rubber tab right here that just pops off and exposes the bolt that holds the cable in place. The most difficult part are these green tabs. You can see this one clearly. The other one is a little lower, closer to the starter. Okay, this is the end of the battery cable that goes onto the starter, and it's just a simple bolt that holds it in place. After you remove the bolt so that this is free, this little green clip will have to come off, and what this does is it just holds the cable in place so it doesn't rattle around or anything. And to get that off of there, since there's not a lot of room under the hood to work, I simply put this flathead precision screwdriver right into the tab and turned it. And that held the screwdriver in place, held this plastic tab open, and then just give a nice tug and it comes right off. There's another tab just like that. This is what it looks like on the cable, and that green tab is right there. And it's the same thing. You just get your screwdriver in there, turn it, that holds in place, and then just give this a nice tug and it comes off. Now when you get the cable back connected to the starter, there are two metal tabs that those green clips simply snap right on. You can pop them right on. I would suggest connecting the cable to the starter first with the bolt. Connect the battery cable to the starter first before using these green clips to mount the cable again. Once you're done with that, you can put the plastic battery tray back on, and then the conduit here simply snaps into this spot. Reconnect the positive cable, do that one first, to the battery of course, and then do the ground cable to the battery. After that, I used some battery corrosion protection spray to help prevent future corrosion, and I also have some of those felt washers on there. replace all the battery, replace the battery hold down, just using a few bolts there. And that's really about it. This project took me about 2.5 hours, and a good hour of that was figuring out how to get these clips to work. Removing these clips from the old cable was a little difficult. All I ended up doing was just pulling on them really hard till they broke, and then one of the pieces fell down on the block, and I just used a spring-loaded clamp tool to pull it out. Since it's plastic, you can't use a magnet to pull it out of there. And that's really about it. I've already tested it out, took it on a little test drive. Everything seems to work perfectly. So that's it for now. I hope you found this useful.